Some trends make biking better. Heated gear, great idea. LED headlights, love them. But then there are the other ones. The trends that look cool for 10 seconds and make you look stupid forever. They start small. One guy does it, posts a photo. 10 guys copy it. Now it's the look, or the thing real bikers do. But guess what? Being popular doesn't make something smart. And a lot of these trends, they're dangerous, impractical, or just flat out embarrassing. So today, we're pulling no punches. If you're guilty of any of these, it's time for a wake-up call. Number 1. Turning your bike into a fake race replica. There's nothing wrong with loving MotoGP. Rossi fans, Marquez stickers, full fairing kits, we get it. But when your 300cc commuter bike is covered in Repsol decals, sponsor logos, and a fake number plate you printed at Home Depot, you're not fooling anyone. This trend has exploded in recent years. People trying to make their budget bike look like a factory race machine. And sure, it might make for a flashy photo, but here's what it really says. I care more about pretending to be fast than learning to ride well. Because that vinyl wrap and faux carbon tank pad is the same underpowered machine with stock suspension, budget brakes, and no track time. You didn't upgrade the engine, you didn't tune the geometry, you just made your bike heavier and more embarrassing. It's cosplay for people who can't admit they bought a beginner bike. Worse, it sets a tone. You roll into a meet looking like you just came off the grid, but the second you start riding, everyone realizes you're just trying to flex. Want to stand out? Ride better. Take it to the track, learn body position, tune your suspension. Then maybe earn that race number the right way. Until then, stop pretending you're on pole position when you're just lane splitting to Starbucks. Number 2. Tactical style gear that doesn't protect anything. You've seen it. Those riders decked out in all black, molly webbing everywhere, pouches they'll never use, and armor that looks like it came from a paintball catalog. It's the tactical rider look. And yeah, it's cool if you're filming a post-apocalyptic action movie, but as real motorcycle gear, it's mostly cosplay with a zipper. The worst part, a lot of this stuff is sold as riding gear. It looks rugged, feels sturdy, but when you check the specs, no CE rating, no abrasion resistance, no real armor. Just layers of aesthetic with none of the substance. You get jackets that look like they could survive a war, but fall apart in a 20-mile-an-hour slide. Pants with more pockets than protection. Gloves that make you look like a commando, but tear open faster than your dignity in a low side. And the people who wear it, usually more focused on the mirror than the road. They want to look tough, not ride smart. Let's be clear, looking cool isn't a crime. But dressing like a SWAT team reject while skipping real protection? That's just stupid. You want tactical? Get gear that's tested. Real armor, real abrasion panels, real function beneath the flash. Because the road doesn't care how many straps and buckles you've got. It cares how well you bounce when you hit it. Number 3. Removing your mirrors just to look clean. There's a weird pride some riders have in saying, I don't run mirrors, like it's some badge of honor. They'll tell you it makes the bike look sleeker, streamlined, less clutter. You know what else is streamlined? A hospital gurney. Let's be real. Mirrors are not optional on a street bike. If you're removing them just for the look, you're not customizing your bike. You're actively making it less functional and more dangerous. This trend started in the stunt scene and track days where mirrors aren't needed because there's no traffic behind you. But on the street, you got distracted drivers, tailgaters, blind spots, merging traffic, cops, and the occasional idiot on their phone doing 80 in your lane. And what do these riders say instead? I just look over my shoulder. Yeah, every 10 seconds, at every stoplight, during every lane change, while braking. That's not confidence. That's delusion. There are low-profile mirrors, bar-end mirrors, sleek fairing mounts, tons of options that don't ruin the bike's look. But no, some people would rather risk getting rear-ended than ruin the lines. It's not brave. It's not cool. It's not minimal. It's stupid. You want to look clean? Ride clean. Because looking good laid out on the pavement is still called an accident report. Number 4, the obsession with ultra-short levers. Somewhere along the way, someone decided that if your brake and clutch levers weren't barely long enough to fit 2 fingers, you weren't a real rider. And now, we got people slapping ultra-short levers on everything from sport bikes to cruisers, thinking they've made some kind of high-performance upgrade. But here's the truth. Most of these ultra-short levers aren't ergonomic, aren't safe, and don't improve anything. Unless you've got track experience and total clutch control, lopping off half your lever just gives you less leverage, less modulation, and more hand fatigue. And let's not forget, on most bikes, especially older or budget ones, the clutch is not light. It's not a binary switch. It requires finesse. And when your pinky and ring finger have nowhere to go, now you're putting more stress on fewer muscles. Same goes for the brake. A full lever gives you control, pressure, precision. But people replace them with these little stubs that flex under load and feel like cheap toys because some influencer said, "It looks aggressive." It doesn't. It looks like you bought parts based on a thumbnail. If you want adjustable levers, great. If you want better feel, even better. But if you're riding around with brake levers that look like bottle openers, just know nobody's impressed and your hands will hate you for it. Number 5. Slapping oversized rear tires on bikes that can't handle them. Somewhere along the line, wider is better became a trend in motorcycle culture. Big rear tires started showing up on bikes that had no business wearing them, like someone trying to squeeze drag slicks onto a bicycle. It looks mean, sure. That wide rubber hanging off the back gives your ride a beefy stance. But here's what you're actually doing. You're ruining your handling, increasing your risk, and screwing up your geometry. For what? A look? Oversized rear tires change the profile of the bike. They resist leaning. They slow down your steering. You have to force the bike into corners instead of flowing into them. Your contact patch isn't magically bigger because that tire's not even sitting flat unless you're on a bike designed for it. And no, you're not getting more grip. You're getting a contact patch shaped wrong for your rim and a carcass that was never meant to flex under your frame. Unless you're riding a drag bike or a purpose-built custom, that fat rear tire isn't doing you any favors. It just tells people you care more about Instagram than asphalt. You want better grip? Get better tires, not bigger ones. You want a mean stance? Ride with confidence, not compensation. Because when your rear end's too big to turn properly, you stopped being a rider and started being a poser. Number 6. Keeping chicken strips on purpose, like it's a badge of honor. Here's one that makes 0 sense. You got riders out there treating untouched chicken strips like some kind of achievement, as if never leaning their bike means they're smarter or safer. I don't need to lean, I ride upright. I'm not some squid in the twisties. That's not cautious, that's clueless. Now don't get it twisted, this isn't about flexing your lean angle or scraping pegs for internet points. But if your tire edges are collecting dust while your center's worn down like a pencil nub, all you're doing is proving you never learned how to ride your bike properly. Cornering isn't optional. It's not some advanced technique for adrenaline junkies. It's a basic skill that literally saves your life in traffic. A car cuts into your lane, you better know how to lean. Blind intersection, off-camber curve, gravel surprise. Your instinct should be smooth lean and throttle, not stay upright and pray. The chicken strip is not evil. It just tells a story. And when that story is, I never use the sides of my tires, the next chapter might be skid marks and regrets. Stop pretending lean angle is reckless. It's not. It's part of riding. And if you're purposely riding like a bicycle tourist just to preserve some imaginary safety badge, you're doing it wrong. Number 7. Deleting the rear fender without a clue. Ah, yes, the ever-popular fender eliminator trend. Because what's cooler than getting rid of that ugly rear fender and turning your tail section into a sleek, sexy streak of minimalism? Well, here's what's cooler. Not riding around with a mud stripe up your back like a rookie. Rear fenders exist for a reason, to keep road grime, water, and rocks off your tail, your passenger, and your back. Remove it without a proper solution, and now every ride in the rain becomes a baptism. You show up to work looking like you slid through a swamp, and good luck convincing your passenger to ever ride again after they catch a face full of gravel from your tire. And don't forget legality. Most places require a rear plate light and proper coverage to meet road safety laws. You yank the fender and stick your plate under the seat at a 45-degree angle? Congratulations, now you're a cop magnet. You didn't make your bike cleaner, you just made it illegal and useless in the wet. Now to be fair, there are clean fender delete kits that actually work. Ones that relocate your plate and light properly, add some splash protection, and don't make your bike look like it's missing parts. But that's not what most people do. They chop, zip tie, and call it a mod. Spoiler alert, less isn't always more. Especially when it means more water, more mess, and more tickets. Number 8. Riding with the high beams on 24/7 for visibility. There's this brilliant new trend where riders leave their high beams on all the time because they think it makes them more visible. But let's get one thing straight. You are not more visible. You are more annoying. And possibly more dangerous. High beams are designed to light up the road far ahead of you, not to blast everyone in front of you with a wall of glare. When you use them during the day in traffic or in someone's mirrors at night, you're not making yourself stand out. You're just blinding drivers, pissing off everyone around you, and making them less likely to notice the next biker that comes along. Visibility is about contrast and motion, not searing retinas. If your goal is to be seen, a modulating headlight or properly aimed low beam does a much better job without turning your ride into a rolling eye exam. And don't give me the loud pipes, bright lights argument. If someone didn't see you with your headlight on, they won't see you with high beams either. In fact, you might make them flinch, brake, or swerve because their instinct isn't, "There's a motorcycle," it's, "What the hell is that light?" Want to ride smart? Use your high beam when you need to see farther, not when you need attention. Because if you need to blind someone to feel safe, you're not riding safe, you're riding scared. Number 9. Using knockoff parts to build a budget dream bike. We get it. Motorcycle parts are expensive. Real levers, mirrors, headlights, sprockets. It adds up fast. So when you see a full set of adjustable levers for $24.99 on eBay, or a fancy-looking LED headlight for a third of the price of name brands, it's tempting. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Most of those knockoff parts are cheap for a reason, and they can literally kill your bike or you. That $25 lever, it might snap the first time you drop the bike, or worse, it might bind under pressure and lock up your clutch or front brake mid-ride. That bargain bin rear set might shear off under load. That discount sprocket, it'll chew through your chain like a hungry dog and wreck your drivetrain before you even notice it's misaligned. And you can forget about quality control. These parts are mass-produced, untested, and often rip-offs of designs stolen from real companies that actually put in the R&D. But it looks the same? Yeah, and a fake Rolex looks good too until it stops ticking or explodes under pressure. Now, not all off-brand stuff is trash. Some lesser-known companies make great gear. But if your entire mod list came from Wish.com or some random seller with no return policy, you're not building a dream bike. You're assembling a booby trap with turn signals. Spend smart. Know your parts. Because cheap stops being cheap when it costs you a ride or a trip to the ER. Number 10. Matching your gear to the bike like it's a fashion show. Color coordination isn't a crime. But when your entire identity as a rider revolves around matching your gloves, helmet, and jacket, and even your shoelaces to your bike's paint job, you've officially crossed into poser territory. It starts innocent. A red bike, red helmet. Fine. But before long, it turns into a costume. Every piece of gear is selected for the selfie, not the ride. Safety takes a backseat to style. Suddenly, you're wearing non-rated gear just because it comes in neon green to match your fairings. And the worst part? These riders often care more about aesthetics than function. They'll skip armor if it doesn't fit the look. They'll ditch rain gear because it clashes with the color scheme. They'll pick novelty helmets just to complete the vibe. Look, there's nothing wrong with liking style. Bikes are emotional machines. They're art. But if your gear decisions are based more on your Instagram grid than your actual safety, then congrats. You've become a fashion model on wheels, not a motorcyclist. Ride to ride. Dress to survive. Because the asphalt doesn't care that your boots match your tank. Number 11. Acting like maintenance is optional if the bike still runs. There's a trend that's less about appearance and more about attitude, and it's straight up dangerous. It's the rider who thinks, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they skip chain cleaning, ignore valve checks, forget oil changes, let brake pads run down to the back and plates. Because the bike still starts right, it must be fine. This is the dumbest kind of confidence, the kind that gets built on luck. Modern bikes are tough. They'll take a beating and keep running, but that doesn't mean they're healthy. And when you treat regular maintenance like a scam or an afterthought, you're turning your ride into a ticking time bomb. You wouldn't fly in a plane where the pilot says, "Yeah, we didn't check the engine this month, but it flew fine yesterday." So why treat your bike that way? This mindset gets even worse when people brag about it. Haven't touched my valves in 30,000 miles and it still rips. Cool, man. I hope your pistons enjoy their trip to the afterlife. Smart riders treat maintenance as part of the ride. It's not a chore. It's how you make sure your machine doesn't betray you at 80 miles an hour in a corner. You can either pay attention now or pay a tow truck later. Number 12. Pretending you're too cool to wave at other riders. Here's a trend that needs to die. The too cool to wave attitude. You see them on the road. Riders who stare straight ahead like they're in a perfume commercial. No nod, no wave, no acknowledgement. They think they're mysterious, elite, above the pack. In reality, they just look like jerks. Waving isn't about being friendly for the sake of it. It's part of the culture. It's how we say, "Hey, I see you out there. We're in this together." You don't have to make friends at every red light, but that little wave is a symbol of mutual respect, of shared risk, of knowing that every biker you pass is riding a machine that can kill them, and they're doing it anyway, just like you. And no, it's not just a cruiser thing. Sport bikes, ADV, nakeds, even scooters, it doesn't matter. Two wheels is two wheels. When you refuse to wave, you're not making a statement. You're just missing the point. Riding is one of the most isolating hobbies in the world, and yet it's built on community. So don't be the guy trying to look cool by acting cold. Be the one who gets it. It takes 1 second, 2 fingers, 0 effort, and it means everything. Because if you can't spare a nod for your fellow rider, you're not in the club. You're just wearing the jacket. Trends come and go, but stupidity, that sticks around if nobody calls it out. From fake race replicas to fender deletes to skipping maintenance because it still runs. Some of these habits are more than just cringe. They're dangerous, expensive, or just plain embarrassing. And the worst part, a lot of people have no idea they're doing anything wrong. So, did I roast one of your mods? Good, that means you're paying attention. Now, drop a comment below. What's the dumbest trend you've seen in the wild? Or better yet, what trend were you guilty of before you knew better? Hit that like button, subscribe for more no BS riding wisdom, and as always, ride smart, ride proud, and keep the rubber side down.